Okay, in this video I'm going to offer a brief overview of the guidelines that I've prepared to guide the feedback that you guys post for one another. Post a link, as we said, to your video before midnight on Monday, and that feedback, you'll have 24 hours to give it to your colleague, because remember, the final version of the video is due with the digital storytelling portfolio on the 8th. So that'll give them a couple of days to do any sort of feedback that they can. Okay, so I've downloaded that right here. And let me just kind of walk through what we're looking for. So basically, there are 4 pieces to this. Some of them will take a little bit more time than others. There's this first part, which I've written wrong. It's the just the 7 elements that we keep going back to. And then there's some narrative elements that kind of overlap with the 7 elements of digital storytelling a bit. And then the deliverables, which I'll talk about in a second, and the summary, the feedback, and recommendations for revision. So in this first part, it's a breakdown. These are the 7 elements of digital storytelling that we want to be dealing with. So go back if you need to for a description for each of these elements. What I want you to do is decide, okay, what about the point of view? Is the point of view strong and clear throughout, or does it maybe need a little bit of work? Are there some areas that, if it's overall weak, then check mark that. But here, if you would give a couple of sentences each that, for each item that says basically, if it's strong, what makes it strong? If it needs a little work, what might need a little work? Maybe it seems to shift from point of view, or maybe the point of view is established early on, but maybe you lost a little bit later, and offer some suggestions for how to keep that important thing consistent. What's the emotional content of the video? What do you see as the dramatic question of the video? Do they do a good job with the economy of language? And again, give them a couple of sentences here, because that specificity is what's going to really help them make the important decisions to sharpen their video still further. How about that voice? Remember the gift of voice that they need to. How's that working? If they chose, well, whatever they decided there. How's the soundtrack working? And what about the pacing? The second section is just a set of kind of a checklist, and you can just highlight what works and what doesn't for each of these. And so, what about the purpose of the project? Is it established and maintained throughout pretty consistently? Is it well arranged? What about the narrative structure? Is that working? And then finally, the supporting elements and the sources are part of one of the important things that I want you to deal with. Is they're going to be reliable throughout? Are they going to make sense that we're working with those kinds of sources and not others? How well do the media that they just selected work? Okay, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this section because you definitely want to work on it for your own. What I'm talking about here is the description field, and this is where it appears on YouTube. So I'm going to go to a YouTube video just for an example. This is what the description that appears at the end of the video, at the bottom of the video, that explains what it's about. It's got, what I want from you guys is to make sure that if somebody lands on your page, you are offering them what they need to in order to understand what's going on. So check to see if does it include a complete abstract that offers a useful overview of the project? You may start with that. I've got some recommendations here. Maybe start with a couple of sentences that describe the project and its purpose. This is my recommendations here, and then you, as a reviewer, offer your comments there. Is it there? Does it seem to offer what the viewer needs in order to understand the piece? Then there's a little blurb to provide further context. I would like for you to include Here's my recommendations. To state that the project was completed by you for Digital Storytelling Winter Mini 2015, and then, a graduate level course taught by me. If you don't want to include your full name, this is what's, again, showing up in the YouTube description. I'm going to put here, at YouTube. Then we'll worry about that, but explain, if it's there, then it's there, and explain. And if it's not here, okay, here's one more piece of something that I need you to do. Okay, go back to the Creative Commons, and I'd like for you to give a license to your entire project so that if somebody happens upon your project, they'll know what kinds of creative rights you're claiming for it. Specify how you have copywritten your own video essay. License your own creative work here. That's the digital storytelling project. Your video is made up maybe of largely materials that may have been created for other purposes, perhaps family video, family photographs, or whatever. But the project that you created is your own creative work, and so you should give it a Creative Commons license. And that for your own piece, then go to creativecommons.org, choose your license, and go through these bits, and then it'll give you this copy URL, or you could just do this, copy this piece here, this if you chose attribution, which is one of the things I suggest. It's really the closest to academic purposes, where as long as they give your name and they give the title of your work, maybe they can use portions of your work in their own, if they decided to maybe do a remix of your video. So, give in your own, these are things that you need to think about for your own piece, but also in the piece that you're reviewing. Finally, include a URL that will take the piece back, where the people that viewing your project can go back to understand more about your project, because there's not a lot of space in the description field for at YouTube. I mean, you can put more stuff, but you probably don't want to overdo it. So if we go again to here, what I'm wanting to see is, go back to standardized. Let's go to show it as it appears at YouTube. You'll notice that in the description field I have for additional information about this project, and this links back to including a detailed list of all materials and creative rights claimed for each use. Please visit the Digital Storytelling Portfolio. And this will take them to the Digital Storytelling Portfolio, where they can click your acknowledgments and learn more about all the items that you've used. So you want to do that, include this, and I've included this blurb. You can just cut and paste directly. As you're doing comments on your the peer review that you're doing, just let them know, I'm not seeing this here, you need to add that here. And finally, tags, just so that your piece will show up if people are looking for specific information about your piece. I'm suggesting you add tags: digital storytelling, tech exam, commerce, new media, and any tags that relate to your project, so that they'll come up. Let's go back to the video here. Oops, my tags are not showing up. Here they go. It's got a category. I put people and blogs here. I recommend education for you. And then the license, the Creative Commons license, you'll want to put here. I need to update mine so that it's there. But when you're doing the editing, you should be able to make any changes that you need to there. And then for the category, suggest education. Okay, finally, the fourth and final part is you've got to sort of summarize the feedback that you have. And what did you like most about the current version? Give them a couple of sentences. What areas should their creator focus on in revision? Give them a couple of suggestions. Maybe they need to focus on the deliverables a little bit and make sure that they have all the elements there. Maybe they have a pretty solid bit on the 7 elements of digital storytelling, but some of the narrative elements that's expressed here might need some work, like maybe a little bit more work on arrangement, for example. And then as the number 3, just provide 3 concrete suggestions for revision. Tell them what kinds of things you suggest they need to do to revise it, and then they'll have a couple of days to finalize that. And just submit this, post this to the peer review thread before midnight on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I will be able to pick that up and spend a little time on it. Thanks.